Welcome, family. Welcome in to another deeply impactful conversation that we're getting ready to have here at the Global Leaders Roundtable. Super excited for you to be here today. I promise you this discussion is going to be phenomenal. It's not every day that you get a chance to talk to a guest like I have today. And so you do not want to miss it. Thank you so much for coming in. This is the place where voices rise, leaders converge, and kingdom movements are born. I'm your host, Kenyon R. Dudley, keynote speaker, global leadership strategist, and this passionate platform that God is allowing me to build is just blowing my mind personally. And I'm super excited to be the founder of this growing global platform called the Global Leaders Roundtable Movement. It's not just a podcast. It is a movement. And for those of you who have been following, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's so many other things going on behind the scenes, so many other inner workings happening right now with the Global Leaders Roundtable, and so much that is to come. I'm super excited that you decided to be a part of this journey with me. Those of you who are new to the journey, you're new to the ecosystem, welcome in. If you're meeting me for the first time, let me introduce myself a little bit to you. My number one mission in life is to say something that will transform somebody's life, and that's going to help them transcend limitations and boundaries. And that's exactly what we do in this forum and through this mechanism called the Global Leaders Roundtable podcast, through real, unfiltered conversations with some of today's most powerful, gifted kingdom voices. Today's guest brings a story that spans both the skies and the soul. She's walked in proximity to power and flown in the face of history. And now she shares a perspective shaped by service and faith and cultural transition. We have so many other guests who are doing the same thing. And listen, we are excited to be able to bring conversations to you each day throughout the week that's going to heighten your sensibility and your intellect and your wisdom and your strength and knowledge quotient. I'm super excited that we get a chance to do that each and every day. Hey, if you're over there on our YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe, tag, like, and share. Let somebody know that you are listening into this conversation and that you want them in on it as well. But make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel at TGLR Network. We got so much to share with you, and you don't want to miss a bit of it. Hey, before we jump into today's conversation, you know how we do it. We always have to give you a few announcements. Those of you who are wanting to be on this platform and this show, you believe that you have a strategy, an idea, a leadership journey that God wants you to share with our global community, you can go and apply today to be a part of this podcast. Just go to bit.ly/TGLR podcast. Right now, guys, we've have over 200 people on the wait list, but we are, myself and my team, we're going through this list right now, trying to find the right stories to platform and to highlight. Who knows, your story may be next. All right. And we have something super special to me. The Global Leaders Virtual Summit is coming up September the 20th through the 21st. We're going to have over 60, I say 60 on the flyer, but we now have over 65 kingdom global speakers, literally from around the world, that's going to be converging on our virtual summit online. They're going to be sharing their ideas, their strategies, the things that has helped them become the best in their industry and in their field. We have people from the science and the tech world. We have individuals from the ministry space. We have individuals from the medical space, from all over. You do not want to miss it. They are coming in from South Africa, Canada. They're coming in from the UK. Guys, Canada is really representing. Okay, thank you guys so much. Who's going to be coming in from Canada, all over the United States? They will be a part of this global conversation at the Global Leaders Virtual Summit. If you want to know more about it, go to bit.ly/TGLR Virtual Summit now. You can either sign up to be a speaker, or you could just buy your ticket and be a part of history in the making. All right, guys, are you ready for today's conversation? I know I am. Today's guest is a woman of excellence, a woman of faith and extraordinary service. Senior Master Sergeant Wanda Joell is a trailblazer with over 28 years of military experience in flight operations. Her remarkable career included providing direct support, comfort, and protection to presidents, first ladies, members of Congress, and high ranking officials from around the world, all while serving aboard Air Force One. One of the defining moments of her career was being aboard Air Force One during the 9/11 attacks, where she personally comforted President George W. Bush during that national crisis. Today, she shares how her high level service journey led her into a deeper walk of faith, and how she now empowers others to transition into purpose with honor and clarity and courage. My friends, help me welcome a super special guest, an incredible guest here at the virtual roundtable, Senior Master Sergeant Wanda Joell. Oh my goodness, I'm super excited to have you. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing great. And thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Like I said, when I first came in to greet you, just thank you for saying yes. It's not every day that we get an opportunity to really just sit with and hear the wisdom of a senior master sergeant, someone who served on Air Force One. What? Let me just fan out for a moment. That's big. That is big. And so you saying yes means the world to me, and I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
So let's jump right into it today, guys. We're having a conversation that I think is very befitting for this day. For It's called From the Sky to the Soul. Going to be talking about faith, service, and cultural transition. Before we jump into it, I know I've already introduced, but
Mhm.
from your perspective, why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers? What part of the world are you in, and what does God have you doing right now?
Yeah.
In this time.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. Like you introduced me, I am my rank per retiring was Senior Master Sergeant Joel. I served in our United States Air Force for 28 total years, and 24 of those years I served 4 U.S. presidents
Wow.
and 5 first ladies separately. Yes.
Oh my goodness. It's again, guys. Excuse me. I'm usually, not lack of words, but to sit with someone who has been that up close to some of our world leaders, and to really, quite frankly, risk your life each and every day to ensure that our world leaders' life is protected, so that they could do the work that they do for us all. It's just not every day you get a chance to sit with someone of that magnitude. And so I am blown away, truthfully. The work that you've done, how did you get there? I mean, you entered into the service.
Mhm.
What was that thing that said to you, okay, I want to make this decision to even join? And then how did you get to the place where you were serving on Air Force One?
You know, it was nothing but the Holy Spirit leading and guiding me. After high school, I always had an interest in flying.
Okay.
From a little girl, and that's in my book, Dreams in Flight. From a little girl, when my family moved to the United States from Bermuda, I'm originally from Bermuda, a
Okay.
small island in the Atlantic Ocean,
Yep.
and a flight attendant on that particular plane as a little girl. I can remember her face, her features, everything. She inspired me so much, just comforting me, so kind and compassionate. I said, I want to be a flight attendant when I grow up.
Right.
That's where it all started. And
Wow.
so I just held on to that. And then after high school, to no avail, I just tried to apply for many commercial airlines, and doors were just closing one right after another.
Right.
And so after high school, I just took a leap of faith and I just went to a recruiter's office, Air Force recruiter's office, and still not knowing about the flight attendants. But I prayed about that too with the family. And I said, if it's meant to be, Lord, let me just enter this Air Force, and I'm connecting it maybe with airplanes. They have some airplanes along the way.
Right.
And so that's where my journey all started. So I joined the Air Force, and later the Air Force sent me overseas, and I saw these blue and white airplanes landing, and I found out that that particular flight had the vice president on board.
Wow.
So I just inquired to one of the flight attendants, took her to the side and said, are you active duty Air Force? Or is this what is this? You're a flight attendant? You're not in uniform. They had on civilian clothes. And she said, yes, it's a special duty assignment at Andrews Air Force Base. And all I said was, how do I sign up?
Right. Okay.
And it took it from there. Yes. Yes.
That is amazing. Okay, now I got something out of what you just said, because so many people are probably needing this wisdom key right here. You said you developed this love and this passion for the skies. You wanted so long to be a flight attendant. When it got to the point where you were able to start applying and reaching out for that dream to manifest, you kept getting closed doors.
I did.
And in that moment, or over time, I assume you finally got to a place where you said, you know what, I'm going to go and I'm going to fly some way, somehow. I'm just going to go and, sign up for the Air Force. Talk about how imperative it is for our leaders and those individuals who are watching right now, how imperative it is to not give up, number one, in the pursuit of their dream. And then how imperative is it to identify where there are closed doors? It might be a redirection from God. How imperative is it for people to have that type of mindset?
It is, you said it, a redirection, because I feel like we pray about things, and that's a test of our faith. That's a testament of our faith. We trust the Lord. We pray about situations. He gives us that we have that we have that will, we have that passion, like I said earlier, and that desire to do something. But you have to do the work as well. I mean, I feel like if I wasn't just centered around my faith growing up and not knowing the importance of it and that solid foundation as my father's a pastor, but just instill in me to just trust the Lord with all my heart and lean not to my understanding, in all thy ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path. So I had that mindset that if I want to go one way, Lord, he might open that door or you might walk through that door, but I want to be convicted. I want to feel that discernment. I want that wisdom to know that might not be for me. So I had a calm spirit about it. And I just, like I said, when the doors was closing on the commercial side of the house, and I'm feeling prepared. I feel like I was ready, had a whole lot of baggage coming out of high school, ready to go. And some of the ones that were in the room interviewing with me, I felt like, I had a better chance with some situations. Sure. But so I didn't give up. But I said, since I felt so qualified and ready to go and it wasn't happening, it was something that was tugging me. This is not the time. This is not the place. This is not what I want, where I want you to be right now, in that moment. So, and like I said, I wasn't, grew up around any military installations, no one in the military in the family, not a clue. So for me, for Lord to drop that in my spirit, just to go walk in the recruiter's office, just to see what he has to offer. And like I said, not unbeknown to me, flight attendants still existed in the Air Force, but it was just the beginning of my career. I was going in the right direction for him to open up that bigger door later in life. Yeah. So did it, and I know this was a while ago, but did it feel right when you walked in that,
office and begin to inquire and ask and sign up and go through the whole process, did you feel something in that moment? Was it like serendipitous, like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be here, this is what you've been doing all along, God? Or did it take time for it to kind of dawn on you, like, oh God, this is what you were doing?
You know what? I felt excited.
Yeah.
It felt like that's where I needed to be. And when I went home to share with my family and they saw the excitement, I had total support. And we, of course, prayed about it. But again, I told the Lord to shut that down because it's a lot of requirements to go into the military as well. I had to pass, the tests, that the written, the physical, and what have you. And everything went smoothly. Everything went smoothly. So when I raised that right hand and signed up, I said, this is where I need to be. And it was excitement. I wasn't no fair. I felt like this is where I needed to be. That was the beginning. I was just ambitious anyway, but I said, okay, I'm going to take a leap of faith and just go with it. And I did. And it was a blessing.
And look at where it landed you, no pun intended, but look at where it landed you. Am I reading this correctly? The first African-American woman to permanently be assigned to Air Force One?
Yes, permanently. And I say that word permanently because they had flown some, but our chief at the time on Air Force One, you had to be a good fit. He would just say, it's sort of like a trial flight. He'll fly different, African Americans, but he told me that I was the perfect fit for that particular mission. And so that's what happened. I was on the trial basis for about 4 years. And then permanently, they picked me up and around, I want to say President Bush 41 was in office. So
I was just going to add, this is amazing. So guys, again, we're sitting with history, and I thoroughly respect this and I honor this moment and I take it in. I hope that you are taking it in as well, because again, it's not every day that you get a chance to sit with someone who's been so up close in this way. Are you able to name all the presidents and the first ladies that you were able to serve up close in that way, or is that?
Yes, no, absolutely. I flew with 4 presidents. So I started with President Bush 41, President Clinton for 8 years, President Bush 43 for 8 years, and President Obama for 2.5. And separately, I was chosen to, my title on Air Force One was the deputy flight attendant, but I was chosen separately to take care of the first ladies. Their wives had separate flights. So I was the superintendent of all the first lady operations. And that included Mrs. Obama, Mrs. Hillary Clinton, Mrs. Laura Bush, and I did fly Miss Barbara Bush on a mission as well.
Wow. And if you don't mind, walk us through, if you can remember, the very first mission, the very first opportunity that you got an opportunity to serve aboard Air Force One. What was the feeling? What was the thought? I know we can't share everything, but just what were some of the thoughts and the feelings going through you at that moment?
You know what? I think I had to have somebody pinch me, first of all. Am I really doing this? First of all, I'm fulfilling my dream of flying. I'm on an airplane, and not let alone just on an airplane, but look who I'm serving. So we start Air Force One flight attendants is not initially on Air Force One. You're on Air Force Two. Okay. So I flew with the Vice President of the United States, and I do remember that trip very clear. Wow. I had I want to say Vice President Quayle.
Okay.
Yeah, Dan Quayle was my first customer of service, and again, it didn't seem like it was real, and it was happening. Like I said, I'm fulfilling a dream, a passion to fly, and here I'm serving the Vice President of the United States at the same time.
I know
it's still blind moment. Blind. It blows my mind to just know that I just I ended, in that arena, because it still seems like it was hard. It's not easy to get. I mean, that job, you have to, like I said, I had to apply for it, and a lot of paperwork and recommendations, and you have to do more things. And one thing that was very important, you have to do a background check, because I had to get a high clearance.
Okay.
Which they call it a Yankee White. It's higher than a Secret Service clearance. Okay. So, and I speak to schools and young people today, and I tell them the social media that they have, that if they went back to my middle school teachers to see if I had been involved, made the right choices, or surrounded myself with bad crowds and what have you. So I tell them when they post stuff, it could be maybe a little joke, or say I want to threaten, I want to blow up, anything could come back that I could have had in my records could have prevented me from getting, my clearance and
Right.
being able to even be on board. So I tell them just, you never know, whatever you want to be, what you grow up, just stay focused and make the right choices along the way.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, so to say all that, is that's where I ended, and just getting that clearance and getting all that, that secret high clearance approved it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
And
but
when you got there, it was just an unbelievable moment, an
exactly.
unbelievable time. Now,
Yes.
so quite naturally, you have served all of these presidents and vice presidents and first ladies. You've seen some challenges. I'm sure these are some of the most powerful people in the world because they are the leaders of the United States, which is one of the most powerful, um, nations in the world. I'm sure there are moments where the pressure was on and you needed to lean in on your faith to
Mm.
really get through personally and also to help those who were around you on your team to get through it as well. I see that you talk a lot about that moment with 9/11. Can you kind of walk us through that time, that moment of 9/11? What was happening and that pressure that you felt? How did it feel to be in it?
Well, just like an ordinary day, you could ask anybody probably where were you on that day.
Yeah.
But as for a crew member, our plan was just that morning to. We always get to the airplane about 2 or 3 hours prior to the president arriving wherever
Hmm.
we're traveling back to. But just a regular day, felt calm until we have huge televisions all throughout the airplane. And I
Right.
remember I was working forward aisle, which is where the president will be. And I remember one of the Dustin just getting the fruit baskets out, candy dishes out, and all the things
Yeah.
he might want, and just seeing on one of the televisions what happened, what everyone else viewed in New York. But we got the alert that something was going on, and the president had to come back quite quickly.
Right.
But I think I'm always prior to all of that, even getting on board, leaving the hotel prior to any mission, I say a prayer, whatever's going to happen that day, whatever's before me that I don't know, Lord, just be in the midst, and
Yeah.
everything. And I think I was mentally and spiritually prepared. Not, you can't really get prepared for anything like that, but the calmness that I had, it
Hmm.
helped even my coworkers, because there was so much going on, the chaos and trying to make decisions. But I just sat back. I had my checklist in my head for safety of the airplane,
Of
as
course.
well as, okay, Holy Spirit, if I need to be used in this moment, use me. And that's when I had a chance to embrace the president coming
Mm.
out of his office, and I felt the tension, I felt the pressure he was even under. And
Yeah.
it was just, I just felt like he was a regular, not even the president at that moment. And
Yeah.
I embraced them, and it just whispered in his ear that the Lord has us. And I felt like, and I looked out the side of the airplane and see the fighter planes escorting us, and I felt like they were our angels, you know,
Yeah.
just with us at that moment, and whatever else was going on in the world, just Lord, just be there with them as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
So.
that's a heavy day. Now, I'm kind of, I'm going to date myself for a moment because I wasn't even in college yet. I
Mhm.
was in school that very day, and I can remember everything coming to a halt.
Right.
And the principal coming over the intercom, the loudspeaker, and saying the entire school is on shutdown. And we weren't able to move or go or leave or anything like that. And it was kind of nerve wracking
Yeah.
because you're literally they asked for every teacher to turn on their televisions. Back then
Mhm.
we had TVs, they
Mhm.
were up in the corner of the room, and we were watching the news. And of course, you could imagine the panic, the fear, the frustration. And we're in school, so we're looking. Where are our parents? How's
Yes.
our family? And of course, on the other side, they're freaking out because they can't
Yeah.
come in,
Mhm.
because the school is on lockdown. But to hear you say that you were right there in the midst of it with the one leader that God had ordained at that time, to lead us all and to make the hard decisions, but you were there able to embrace him and just share a quick word of comfort with him. Um, to me, I feel like I want to say thank you to you, you
Mm-hmm.
know, for being a vessel and being used in that moment. I know everybody was doing their work, doing their jobs,
Mm-hmm.
but since I have an opportunity to speak to you in this moment, I feel like there is a thank you that is owed to you on behalf of the people of the United States, because sometimes we don't realize the pressure that leaders are under,
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
know,
Yes.
and just having people around that know how to pray, that
Mm-hmm.
know how to remain calm. I know in that moment for me, you know, our leader was our teachers and our principal.
Right. Right.
And if they would have freaked out,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
goodness, I mean, people would have been hurt, or even probably worse, you know, because of the pandemonium that it probably would have caused.
Right.
And so, thank you for being, you know, a force of calm and being so connected to the Spirit of God,
Mm-hmm.
even in that moment.
Thank you. Thank
It is just, you never know who's working on the side of God in those moments.
you. Exactly. Yes.
And so, it's amazing. With you, you are now going around, you're speaking, you have a book, you have
Mhm.
all these things that you're doing to share your journey. What's the number one thing that God has you sharing with other leaders and rising leaders?
Mhm.
What does He have you sharing right now based on the experience you've had?
I want to just pick. I want to thank you for thanking me, actually, because that's probably one of the first that
Mm,
I've gotten from that. I mean, of course, we got certificates and all that other stuff, but that felt heartwarming. I appreciate you.
absolutely.
And at that moment, I want to say this real quick. A lot of times we have different missions, different trips, and you're not on every trip. So
Hmm.
again, the Lord put me on that particular trip. Like a lot of things,
Hmm.
like I said, doors closed and all that, but I didn't have to be. And a lot of my coworkers said that, they weren't there. We shared the experiences.
Hmm.
They choose 10 per flight, but I
Right.
didn't have to be on that particular trip. Well, I should say maybe that was God's will for me to be there,
Yes.
maybe just to keep that calmness going. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I appreciate you even mentioning that to me. That meant a lot.
I really, before we move on, I know we're going to go to that question I just brought up, but I just want to sit right here for a moment. I don't want to rush past it, if I may, because I do know um, how, and I in no means am insinuating that you haven't been honored or whatnot from, you
Mhm.
know, our ranks, and you know, but I do know that a lot of times things can go unsaid and things can go unspoken,
Mhm.
and it's almost like, well, you should know you're appreciated. But no, sometimes we need to hear it, you know, especially as leaders like you. Like, for crying out loud, you were you were on the plane with the
Mhm.
most powerful man in the world at the time. And something as and I won't even say as small as, because it's a huge thing to be able to know how to pray, but something as great as just being able to be there and be calm and to embrace and to be praying in your spirit and whatever else God had you do in that moment, it meant a lot, because
Yes,
one bad move could have tipped the energy over,
exactly.
and he could have made the wrong choice, decision. It's a domino effect.
Exactly. Yes, just to be in that moment, that presence, you have to be ready,
You have to be.
and you have to be prayed up and in the word. Because sometimes, it says put on the whole armor, and
Mhm.
sometimes you get just crisis, just life. Things just happen, the spirit of moment. But you
Yeah.
got when things are going good and things are already calm, that's when you got to say, okay, I'm gonna get it all now, and
Mhm.
build up my spirit and my prayer life and everything now, and stay connected in fellowship and all that things. So when the
Mhm.
storm does hit,
Yeah.
you could just say that's when it will come into the reminder of the word, and
Mhm.
be steadfast and unmovable, and everything will come to your mind that you studied, and God will bring it back to your remembrance. You prayed about this like a while ago, and then now you're ready for that storm. You just have to
Exactly.
be ready. You just have to be ready at all times.
At all times.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
Senior Master Sergeant, I salute you. I do, and I thank you for that. Whew, that's amazing, guys. I hope you guys feel what I'm feeling. I really, and let me tell you what I'm feeling. I'm feeling the Spirit of God on this
Mhm.
conversation. You never know who needs to hear a thank you, even if you are a leader at the highest of ranks. Um, it goes a long way. Uh, so
Mhm.
nowadays you are talking and
Yes.
speaking and have a book and all of that. What are you up to now, and how is God really using you to share your experience now?
God is just opening up a lot of doors. I don't know what's next. I just
Yeah.
prayed about it. I said, well, Lord, you ordered my steps and you blessed me with this career. I laid the foundation, and I feel like I opened up doors for others.
Yes.
They saw me, I made it to the Air Force One. Even within that, others applied,
Yeah.
themselves. And now it's probably multiple of, I should say, cultures on the crew, but at the time it was so limited. And even not just making it there, but I had to just stand the test against, it was predominantly male flight attendants in
Hmm.
history, if you do the history that served our presidents. So I'm coming alongside of some men that not even used to serving, I
Yeah.
should say, with females in the military, women in the military, period.
Hmm.
So just to break that barrier, I think that's a testament to say I stood the test with them. I mean, I felt like I was just as capable of, just, if you made it this far, I can too,
Right.
and I surrounded myself with a lot of positive people. And the Lord always put that in my life, in my path as well. Even we call it outside the fence. Air Force One's kind of in a fenced area,
Hmm.
but I found people that the first other places. So you always find, even for rank, this, I may see a master sergeant, but
Yeah.
how did you get there? You
Yeah.
know, as a first and everything. So I just continued to just do the research and what I need to do to stay. I had to stay one step ahead because I
Yeah.
felt like I still had to prove myself.
Of course.
Even
Yeah.
when it came to education, the Air Force looks to see if you fill all the squares to get promoted. So
Hmm.
I had to get in although we travel, I had to get in the books, go back to school. I had to get involved in the community involvement and everything. So you continue working, and that's why I'd like to inspire people that you just don't get settled and say I made it this far, because I started on Air Force too. I could have settled. I made that. Oh, I'm flying. I'm with the vice president. Well, okay, what do I need to do to get on the Air Force One?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that about your story, because just listening to you throughout this conversation, it has been a theme of, okay, that didn't work. What's next? How do I do it? How do I go next? And just maintaining that faith and that level of stick to itiveness to
Yes.
just move to the next level and move through the ranks, which is why God trusted you, I believe,
Hmm.
with the highest of high levels, you know, to work with presidents and things of that nature. You said something, and I want to land the conversation here. You said you were a first,
Hmm.
and you were surrounded by, and you have become privy to a lot of firsts. Uh, I would say, in a way, I'm a first, with this platform and with what we're getting ready to do. And so we're making partnerships and deals behind closed doors, and what God gave me, um, no one honestly have seen before in Dallas, Texas, and no
Hmm.
one has seen before, um, really ever in this generation, in this time. What would you say to a person like me, a leader like me, who is a first or embarking upon an opportunity to be the first at something?
Hmm.
What would you say in this moment to us, as far as moving on and moving forward, and the things we need to make sure that we are aware of as we go?
Right. Well, two scriptures come to mind. Jeremiah 29:11. Um, he knows the plans he has for you. He knows the plans that he has for all of us, and
Mhm.
plans to prosper, not to harm us. And another one that comes to mind, John 9:4. I must finish the work of him who sent me while it is day. And if you're open, you're a vessel, and you're available, God, you are the one that he could use. He can't use everybody, and that's not for everybody. But the Spirit of the Lord in you, or whoever we're speaking to, if they want to step out on faith and be in that position, that platform, and God knows he could use you as his vessel, and
Mhm.
he gave you all that information and all that what you want to do. I mean, it's in your head. It seems like you want to do so much with platforms and globally. That's
Mhm.
awesome out of Dallas. And you're the one for this moment.
Mm.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You're the one he chose. You're chosen, and not everyone could fill those shoes right now. This is your time. This is
Mm.
your time. And that's how I felt when the Lord blessed me with my position. He said, no weapon formed against you gonna prosper. I know somebody's gonna try to discourage you along the way and all that stuff, but this is your time. And I just felt like with everything that was coming against me, I felt like I'm still in the will of God, first of all. And if he put me here, he's not going to leave me or forsake me, but he's promised never to leave us. But I feel like like I said, it wasn't easy. The
Mhm.
challenges, like I was saying, the male dominating and all that things, having to prove yourself. But if God put me here, I got to stand the test.
Yes. Yes.
Got to be strong and trust him that you're here. And yes, I did make history. It's a historical mark, and I'm humbled and I'm
Mm.
honored that the Lord even I made that history. But he placed me there. That's why I felt like I said, no weapon formed against me was going to prosper. No one
Yeah.
can move me or shift me. And I had to it got discouraged. You get the moments, you get
Of course.
discouraged. Like I said, that's why I said surround yourself. We had a closet we could go to. I had some prayer partners, even on the job. So
Yes.
hired some really good angels. And like I said, I saw another. She was a chief master sergeant. She was a flight attendant, and they put her through the Christian of faith. They put her. She was my testament. I tell you, they put her through so many changes and so many things, but she stood the test. She didn't give
Wow.
up, and I modeled after her and said, you know what, all the stuff she went through,
Yeah.
and stuff. Just because you're intelligent, got a little bit more education, or whatever the envies, it could be just you just smile too much. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Oh yeah.
But
It could be
she
some
never
crazy things.
gave up. Yes, and I honor her today for just, you never know who's watching you too, because you're on this platform and you are just going to inspire someone else coming up to say, oh, I want to be, on the podcast, round the
Mhm.
table sort of thing. And
Yeah.
he did it, and you don't know who you're going to touch. Even one of your guests, just your testimony today, but thanking me for 9/11 meant a lot to me.
Yes.
Just your words of encouragement. So you just never know.
Yes. I am so honored to have had this conversation and this discussion. I pray that those who are watching in and listening in, that you have been able to extract the
Mhm.
wisdom keys and nuggets that were put out on the virtual table today, um, because it were many. There were
Mhm.
many. There were many. Senior Master Sergeant, if you would, how can people get your book? How can they stay connected to you, call you in to speak on all of those things? How can they be connected?
Oh, absolutely. My website is wandajoel.com. It's
Okay.
simple, wandajoel.com. I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. But the book will be out this fall. So everything will be on
Yes.
the website. And
Okay.
if they want to book me, they could do that on the website as well. Actually, my marketing company is out of Dallas, out of Houston,
Yes.
Texas.
All right.
They will get a hold of me, and this is what I like to do. So feel free to reach out, and if I'm available, I'll make it happen. I'll try to be there.
Yes,
Yes.
indeed. Yes,
Thank
indeed.
you. Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
this book is going to be phenomenal. I already can feel it. I will be getting me a copy. Seriously, I will be getting
Oh,
it. I'm
thank you.
looking to read more about your experience and the things that you have to offer and share with us. And hopefully you'll come back. We are
Uh-huh.
working on getting over into a live studio space, and so by that time, hopefully you will be able to come back. And we'll be able to talk about that book and all of that good stuff.
Oh, yes. I love Dallas. Fly me in.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All righty. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Senior Master Sergeant Wanda Joell, thank you so much for being here. Hang tight. I'm going to wrap up everything here,
Okay.
and then we'll talk in just a moment. Guys, what a phenomenal conversation. And I don't even feel like I got a chance to get through everything. I mean, oh my gosh, there's so what do you ask a person who has ascended to that level. Like there's so much to ask. I have to have like a day or so and just sit with her and whatever we talk about, then chop it up and make it different, interviews and things like that. She is a wealth of knowledge, I can tell. And it's just not every day. I've said this, I don't know how many times during the show, but it's just not every day you get a chance to sit with someone of this magnitude. And all glory to God for making this happen. Senior Master Sergeant Wanda Joell, thank you for showing us what it looks like to serve at the highest levels while still living with humility, faith, and grace. Your story reminds us that our calling is not confined to one uniform, one assignment, or even one nation. It's about carrying the heart of God wherever we go. To everyone watching, this is your reminder. You were born to serve. Yes, you. You were born to serve, but also to lead with purpose. Your story matters. Your presence matters. And there's life after every transition or closed door. All right. I'm your host, Kenyon R. Dudley. This has been another Fireside Chat edition of the Global Leaders Roundtable, where voices rise, leaders converge, and kingdom movements are born. Until next time, lead boldly and live well. And I'll see you at the Global Leaders Roundtable Virtual Summit, September 20th through the 21st. It's coming up. You do not want to miss it. All right, guys, have a good one.